Hello and welcome to Startup Champions 2.0, the show where you meet and learn from National Startup Award winning founders. In the show today, you will meet our Startup Champion Accelerator, that is the India Accelerator, and guest Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. You are in for a growth ride. Today, you will meet one of India's leading accelerator, the India Accelerator. An accelerator is exactly what it sounds like your car. Your car has an accelerator to increase its speed. Similarly, startup accelerators are like booster engines for startup. So Abhay and Munish, welcome to Startup Champions 2.0.
Thank you so much.
Fantastic. Let's start shoot up right with the first question. So what are the top 3 things that India Accelerator actually provides to its startups so that you're able to accelerate them a lot faster?
So we provide them domain as well as functional help. We bring in industry experts who work with these founders to help them grow. We also provide them a lot of business connects through which they can do partnerships.
Interesting.
And of course, we give them funding access as well.
Interesting. So funding is something that I am very keen about. Go ahead.
So the foundation stone of IA has been laid on 4 C's, what we call them: cash, competency, connects, and community. So what we do is we put in some kind of a seed investment at the day one. Then we'll help that from with our industry experts.
Interesting.
Domain experts would come on board. Then there is a expertise from our end which helps them again build their businesses. Then we have around 150 odd startups of community where all those startups will come together, cross-pollinate, and let their business grow. That is
fantastic.
Premise, the way India Accelerator works and help every startup to grow.
My second question to you is, how is an accelerator fundamentally different from an incubator?
So incubator comes in when the founders are still working their idea out.
Okay.
Once they have developed a product and they are at MVP stage, which is minimal viable product, they can come to accelerator where they need growth. So we focus more on getting them partnerships and getting them customers, as you were saying.
Right.
And that's where the accelerator and the incubator differentiate.
What's your business model?
So what we typically do, there will be 1,000 odd startups which we apply to us.
Sure.
We'll handpick few of the promising ones. Then we'll help them scale up. What we'll do is we have our 16-week structured program where we'll pick up a specific problem of a startup. Mm-hmm. We'll help them solve.
Wow.
So that they become scalable, and every week we'll see a growth in their revenues and customer acquisition and whatever the parameters any startup would have. So to provide all that support system, we'll pick up some amount of equity.
Got it.
So that our interests are aligned in the vision of a founder.
Sure.
So we pick up a small equity, we work practically as a co-founder for that equity to grow, so that small equity what we have would become meaningful in coming days.
Sure.
So that at some point in time we'll go hit a IPO.
I'm sure.
Then we'll make a fortune out of it.
Of course. My next question is, do you also, so while you've already sort of said that you do invest some cash component into the startups, if yes, how much and what is the minimum and the maximum range of equity that you ask for?
So we usually invest anywhere between 25 lakhs to 2.5 CR,
Sure.
depending on the state of the startup.
Sure.
So we pick up anywhere between 5 to 15% of the equity from the startup.
Since you are sector agnostic, a lot of different kinds of startups will be applying to you, right? How do you get an entire community of mentors? Are they Indians? Are they globally, available there? How do you get all of these people to come and mentor your startups?
So as Abhay was mentioning, we have launched those domain-specific programs.
Sure.
So we bring in mentors for those domain-specific programs. These are across industries, across globe. As we are part of Global Accelerator Network, so we get a lot of mentors with them. Also, we go out and reach out to the industry expert who would love to work with these founders. So these people have actually built up their products and the company, so they comes with a lot of experience.
Sure.
So once they work with these founders, they of course can bring magic. So all of these verticals will have very specific mentors who have a particular skill, and that's where we get them connected during the program that we have.
If there's a SaaS startup, if there's a software startup, they want to sort of grow out. So how big is your global access?
So we are part of a Global Accelerator Network. It's a network of 110 accelerators around the world. So anywhere the startup wants to go, there would definitely be a GAN accelerator which we have access to. So we get access to local mentors, ecosystem partners. At the same time, the network of 1,200 plus mentors that we have, they are also global. So these are people from Indian expats who are working there, working in large organization. So we have that access which we can bring to these startup founders, and they can grow there.
When you actually onboard founders, right? When you choose to work with certain founders, what are the topmost qualities that you specifically look at these are the 3 important things that I'm looking for in the founder? What are those qualities?
First of all, a founder should be mentorable.
Okay.
He should be receptive for having that mentorship. See, we stand for mentoring.
Sure.
If he is not mentorable, then that founder is not a fit for any product.
Sure.
Then he should have certain amount of pedigree to it, maybe good qualification or good understanding or he should be a domain expert.
Okay.
These are the principally three founder parameters what we really consider for that it has a must have for any founder to have in our
in your scheme of things, of course.
Yeah, just to add to it, we also look at what we call as a founder fit, So if the founder is mentable, as Abhay was mentioning, but at the same time, he should be looking for solving a problem. He should not be in love in a solution, because solution can change, right? So you look for a problem, and there could be different ways to solve it, and that's where these experts can help them as well. So if they are mentorable and talking to these industry experts, the solution that will come out of the program will be a lot different and scalable as well.
How important from your perspective is for a founder and hence his or her team to be problem solvers essentially at the foundation? How important is that?
I think it's very important because you have to solve a problem and there could be multiple ways to do it. So he has to look all aspect of it. If he is a CEO, he just don't have to look for the marketing or tech and everything. At the same time, he should also have a team who can deliver on that. So he may not be good at everything, but he should have a team who can deliver on that.
Sure.
So he should pick his team who can deliver on all the aspects.
Interesting.
You talked about the right problem to solve.
Right.
So when we talk about incubation a while back,
right.
So most of those people, those kids, those who are working in colleges and incubation centers,
right,
are really not working on an idea which should see a light of the day.
Sure.
Because see, you get so obsessed with that idea, this is something which would solve the problem, but in real world it doesn't. So that is something with that founder or that CEO need to understand that this product has some value addition.
Sure.
It would solve some problem outside in real world.
Sure.
That is something which most of the founders and those CEOs need to understand.
Now comes the questions from our audience, and of course our accelerator champions today will actually answer that question. Are you guys ready?
Yes.
Fantastic. By the way, our audience asked some very, very tough questions. So be, explain your answer because lakhs of people would probably have the same question. Our question today has come from a professional, I think from West Bengal. He's Shaumulya Das. Shaumulya ji, please come on the screen and ask your question.
My question is for India Accelerator. If after coming into the accelerator, we realize that our business model is not right and the business is not worth doing, then what is our binding to the accelerator?
So what typically it happens with us, what we do, almost 1200 plus startup applies. Out of that, our selection criteria is just 2 to 3%.
Wow.
So first of all, if that idea is not workable, we'll run it down on day one.
Okay.
That solves most of that problem.
Sure.
But still, if in case it comes, it's there, it's working, we're there with them. That's the whole idea of being an accelerator, working towards a startup, helping them grow. We'll keep on pivoting. We'll keep on helping them grow. There'll be different mentors, different industry experts will be coming on board. Plus, there's a founding team of IA which will be working with them.
Sure.
So that's the whole idea to make that startup successful.
How many times do you help a founder really go through this entire process?
See, it's more of a marriage, what happens to a startup. Since you come on a cap table, you're there for till the time you don't exit.
Sure.
And they practically become, a family. You want to always help them, guide, help them, give them comfort so that they keep on working well. So you become like a extended father, brother, or somebody, that big founding team.
Sure. Manish, you want to add to that?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, because we are working with them on day-to-day basis,
Right.
we are aware of the problem that they are facing.
Right.
So every time, every week on week, we try to solve one problem at a time.
Got it.
And that's a continuous process, right? So they will not feel frustrated that nothing is happening because they would be making progress on at least one problem at a time. And there are, a lot of mentors who have gone through the same journey.
Sure.
So they would learn from that experience.
Sure.
And there are 150 founders who are part of the community, right? They all have gone through that journey. So it becomes a club where you can come and, we become a sounding board for them.
Sure.
And we can walk them through the process and, they are a little stable in that case. And of course, pivot can happen anytime and you would have seen a lot of startups. So that would always be the case for the startup founders as well.
Top 2 lessons of this entire session are as follows. Number 1, if you get the right accelerator with you, ensure that you hold their hand, you become mentorable, and you become part of their team. Number two, magic can happen if you have these 4 C's that Abhay spoke about, right? So if you have those 4 C's with you, tell your accelerator, sir, the only 5th C which is missing is my customer. Get me more customers. And of course, your startup will grow much more faster. Don't go anywhere. I will see you right after this little short break.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now.
Welcome back to Startup Champions 2.0. India has become the 3rd largest startup ecosystem in the world. With 75,000 plus startups, we are celebrating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. Behind the scenes of this massive achievement has been the Atal Innovation Mission and Niti Aayog. I now invite my guest, Dr. Chintan Vaishnav. Dr. Vaishnav, welcome to Startup Champions 2.0.
Thank you very much. It's great to be with you.
Thank you so much. My first question to you, Dr. Vaishnav, is, Atal Innovation Mission has established over 10,000 Atal Tinkering Labs. About 75 lakh plus students have really engaged through these labs, right? Tell us the backstory. I'm sure it wouldn't have been so simple to do all of this, right? How did it all happen?
Well, so I think it was, I have to be honest, it wasn't all premeditated. When Atal Innovation Mission started and the grant was given to us, there were many ideas about what you can do with this grant and so on. And then somebody, I think it was Mohandas Pai, you know about him from Infosys. He said, hey, why don't you give a 3D printer to every school in India? And we thought, well, this is a wild idea. Maybe we can try it. And from that seed came out the Atal Tinkering Lab. Wow. And so first we started out with a few hundred, and then we saw that students were really excited about it, doing some very unexpected, wonderful things with it, and so on. So slowly that target the goalpost kept moving, and now we are at 10,000.
That's actually phenomenal, right? So, tell me something very important. What you've fundamentally done is you've accelerated the dreams into realities, right? So many students have just realized that they could do so much more, and that's what you've done. What is your sense today? So is Atal Innovation Mission an accelerator by itself, or do you support accelerators? How does it really work?
So I think what's happening is that as a country, we need both generic incubation and then very focused, short-term, sector-specific acceleration. And we're doing both. Acceleration is more of an emergent phenomena. So it's only now that we are beginning to see that there are many people ready to be accelerated. So for example, we have some very sector-specific activities, such as Andhra Pradesh MedTech Zone does medical devices and has had a tremendous impact on imports of medical devices by local innovation, substituting it with local innovation. We have an incubator coming up at Coffee Board of India, which is across the coffee supply chain. And again, India can really be a champion in coffee, if we want to. We haven't really explored the innovation and entrepreneurship angle in that direction at all. I'll give you one more example quickly. Last year, we ran a program with Venture Center in Pune, BMGF, the Principal Scientific Advisor's Office, and so on, to curate a few science-based startups, their incubators, and the faculty whose labs produce these technologies, and we accelerated them over 9 months, and these 20 startups raised 20 crores just in those 9 months. So we're advancing fast.
Wow, and you've given this clarity very well that, while of course we are fundamentally a fairly young startup ecosystem even now in India, some of us really need that acceleration. We've gone to that level of maturity. My next question to you, sir, is, Atal Innovation Mission has launched and co-launched so many incredible initiatives, right? Which initiative in your sense, or will you keep at the top of the list in terms of the maximum possible impact?
So I think if we look back of the many initiatives that we have taken, Atal Tinkering Lab has had the greatest impact so far. But if you look forward, I would want to bet on something like the Vernacular Innovation Program, because only 10-11% of Indians speak English, and our innovation ecosystem today is accessible only to those who speak English. So we are taking active steps to open our innovation ecosystem to all languages of India, all 22 languages. We have now actually created a cohort of trainers in each of those languages, and they have taught their first few classes on design thinking in vernacular languages, all 22 of them.
Wow. What opportunities can startups explore with this entire program?
So, the foundation of the Vernacular Innovation Program is that creativity has nothing to do with language.
Wow.
It needs to be decoupled from language. This program is trying to do 4 things. To help somebody who does not have facility in English to learn the modern subjects like design thinking and entrepreneurship in their language, access the market in their language, access an investor in their language, and access the government in their language. So we are looking at something completely untapped.
Wow.
When we taught design thinking in Santhali for the first time, there was an institution that came up to us and they said that they are working on preserving 40 tribal languages. They would like to take it to all 40 languages.
You've got 5,100 plus mentors that are listed with Atal Innovation Mission. How does the mentorship program really work, and what impact has it really created?
So these mentors are essentially professionals in their own right, and these are people who want to give back. That's their main emphasis. And we have matched such mentors to schools, startups, young people, and in many places, these mentors bring the world view to these places, right? Here's a rural school, here's a global mentor, and they expose them to all sorts of possibilities. So that's really the role of the mentor.
Wow. And, any specific impact that you remember that, or any specific interesting story that has really come out of mentorship?
So, here's one. When we were in the middle of COVID, there's a mentor in Bangalore. His name is Kiran Kumar. He mentors the Air Force School. Kiran came up with a plan that we should run something called a Tinkerpreneur Boot Camp, where we can take people from an idea to a digital venture. It can all be done from home. 9,000 plus teams registered. We ran it for 9 weeks. 650 products came out of it.
On that note, tell me something. What are the key goals that Atal Innovation Mission is looking to achieve in the coming year as well?
In the coming year, okay. Well, so let's first think about the key goals as a nation.
Sure.
Okay, we have 75,000 startups for 130 crore Indians.
Right.
That's one startup in about 19,000, 20,000 citizens.
Sure.
The nations that have a more mature innovation ecosystem, like Israel, for example, they are at about one startup in 2,000 citizens. That's where we are headed. So, and Atal Innovation Mission's next year's goal is really to lay the foundation for the next 5 years of India's innovation ecosystem. The first 5 years, so far, we have spent something like 1,500 crores on Atal Innovation Mission. The direct tangible return from these 1,500 crores is about 8,700 crores from startups, students learning innovation, and all of that. We can
Sure.
go into the details.
Sure.
The next 5 years, so the ratio has been 1 is 5 times, between 5
Pretty
and 6
much,
times. The next 5 years, it needs to be much higher than that, right? Because technology is the only non-linear
Sure.
that's in our control.
Sure, absolutely. And this non-linear tech would probably sort of take this impact from not just a 5x, but probably it could be 20x, who knows?
Yes.
Right?
Yes,
and
absolutely.
And I think the moment that happens, especially when you trickle down across so many several languages, information that is required on how to build a startup and how to grow a startup, it will just change the country forever.
Let's hope so.
I'm sure. So my last question to you, sir, is millions of Indians right now are watching you and they're listening to you on this very show. What's your message to all of them?
Don't be afraid. It's time to give up that fear that somebody must give me a job.
Sure.
It's time you create one for somebody else.
Phenomenal. On that note, you got it from the man himself. Don't be afraid. It's time actually not just to look for a job, but to create one. It's time for a break. On the other side, we will together take step number 5 of how to start a startup. If you want to grow your startup, meet me on the other side.
Your window to rising India. India's voice on global platforms. Latest news from India and around the world. In-depth analysis of global headlines. Watch DD India in your country. Available for downlink in all Southeast Asian countries. STTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 17 at 93.5 degrees east. HDTV broadcast is available through the satellite GSAT 10 at 83 degrees east. For technical details, scan here. Switch to DD India now.
Welcome back to Startup Champions 2.0. It's now time to take the next step of how to start a startup and grow our business. Learning leads to earning. Let's now continue our journey of learning with step number 5 of how to start a startup. Write your business plan. This is step number 5, the most important step in your business. The framework that I'm going to give you is clarity, cash, and conviction. Let's now understand why this is so important. Look, clarity is important such that you are actually able to execute extremely well. Cash is important because without cash, nothing moves forward. It's as simple as that. And conviction is important such that whether for your employees, your investors, or any of your other stakeholders, you are able to communicate your idea with 100% conviction. Now, I will give you steps of this entire framework. Certain questions that you need to answer for yourself. Number 1, what problem are you solving? Number 2, which customer segment will you focus on first? Do not spread yourself too thin. Just remember, focus on one customer segment at a time. Then, how is your solution different from others? How will you make money? What's your cost of doing business? Very, very important. And what are your channels of distribution? Once you answer all of these questions for yourself, you will actually realize that you would have written your entire business plan for yourself. In fact, when you go and pitch to investors, you would ideally be answering only these questions. Look at this episode again, answer these questions for yourself, and of course, take your startup to the next level of growth. It's now time to say goodbye. But before you do that, share your feedback with us. Make your videos and post them with #StartupChampions2. You could also send your videos on the given email ID too. In the next episode, you will meet startup champions from the security industry. Thank you for watching Startup Champions 2.0. Jai Hind.